The tape, let's grind. Shut up. The tape. Let's grind. Let's the tape. We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. And dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. And dogs in your face. Grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Right. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Yep. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Film guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back, like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape.
We ain't gonna play. And dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. And dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The
Shut
tape.
up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. The tape.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
I got a feeling we're going to get about 90 minutes into this 120-minute show, and we're going to be short on topics. But it is indeed our last show and our best show of the week. Welcome in to the Film Guide Network on a fabulous Thursday evening. It is a loaded one. We got a great one for you. It's Thursday. We've got Unless It Doesn't Happen. USC down bad on the recruiting trail.
Uh-oh. No, not the...
USC down bad on the recruiting trail. Bryce Underwood has a new latest offer coming in from Michigan. We'll talk a little bit about that. We've got crazy but true, some crazy things going on in the world of college football that you would no way in hell believe is true. That is indeed true. And we'll also take a peek. But I want to open with this. Guys, and this is an open discussion format for even those of you in the chat today and those of you watching us on demand afterwards. What is the best way to actually determine the 12 teams in the college football playoff? It's seemingly the most unanswerable question in sports today. Obviously, professional sports have a nice, easy, clean-cut way of deciding and ultimately awarding the playoff positions in their leagues. And it's nice and simple in the pro leagues. It becomes much harder in the college ranks. You know, college basketball has a much larger field. It almost feels like if you don't get in there, it's on you. You don't deserve to be there. Almost a very similar track for baseball as well. So the super regionals and regionals are so vast and so massive. It's a 64 team acceptance rate for 200 so odd teams. It seems like it's a nice, easy way of doing that in those ranks. But man, in college football, this seems almost unanswerable. And it seems like we get pigeonholed in between whether or not the job of the committee is to decide who are the 12 best teams, or if it's their job to decide who are the 12 most deserving teams. And I'll be honest with you, if you ever tried to decide who the 12 best teams are, you're never really going to get to a solidified answer that everybody unanimously
There it is.
unanimously agrees upon. You're never going to get there, right? The best is very subjective. The best is very opinionated. I think these are the 12 best teams. There's no metric that's actually going to give you truly the 12 best teams on a year in and year out basis. So we're more apropos and more likely to settle on the 12 most deserving teams. I think that's the most easy way of going about this. And I've always said this. I think you're better off just creating some mythical standard and saying these are what we determine are the deserving metrics, and then sticking to those metrics and just going with the most deserving teams and explaining why you think those are the most deserving teams. And I'll be honest, if you look at this year's playoff committee, seems to me like if you want to appease this year's playoff committee, just win every game. It doesn't matter who you play. It doesn't matter your strength of schedule. It doesn't matter if you play tough teams. Just win. Just win, and that's fine. And honestly, if that's what it's going to be moving forward, then just remove all your non-conference games. Don't play hard ones. Play easy schedules and hope that you get a good draw on your conference record, because if you're an SEC team, I got to be honest, if you're looking at this year's committee, you're just shit out of luck if you got a tough schedule. If you have to play 3 top 10 teams on the road, tough titty. Just go out and win. That's all that matters. I feel real bad if you're an SEC team based off the way these metrics and these committee members are going about it, because all you got to do is win. It doesn't matter who you win. It doesn't matter who you lose to. Just don't lose, because if you lose, you're out on this one, and it's a tough slate.
Yeah, I mean, it's at a point where the committee's hands are tied in this situation, because, I mean, the baseline expectation is win your games, handle your business. And that's kind of always been the metric for what's been good, until the committee wants to kind of take that back and keep a Florida State team that's undefeated and won all of its games out. I understand they had their quarterback injured, but, I mean, Florida State handled every single challenge that was put in front of them that season. So the metrics are so fluid, and there isn't really anything to go off of to say, this is what we view as the 12 best teams. And I mean, if you're going to create these parameters that the committee has to adhere to, why don't we just go back to the BCS model, where the computer, the most objective thing possible, put all this data in a metric system and then spit out who the 12 best teams were? Everyone hated that was the problem. And there were times when it had its flaws for sure, but I mean, the human process seems to be just as flawed.
Yeah, I just feel like there already is a lack of consistency with this year's rankings, just because, like, for example, this is an example a lot of people are using of Georgia's ranked ahead of Miami with 1 loss when Miami's undefeated. Both of them lose on the same weekend. One loses to an unranked Georgia Tech. The other one loses to a ranked top 16 team who is now in the top 10. And now Miami is still in the playoff. I understand that they could be doing it because it's like, well, they're likely to win the ACC anyways. But
yeah,
still, like, as a straight up ranking, it seems like there's a lack of consistency here of like what the thought process is of what puts one team over the other.
Yeah, how Georgia loses to a top 10 team and drops, I think, 9 spots, and Miami loses to Georgia Tech and only drops 6 is very weird.
Yep.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm of the belief that if I am a Power 4 broker right now and I'm in the SEC and the Big Ten, we either go about our partnership publicly and just go on with it and have these interconference, crossover games where we pay our best 6 teams play your best 6 teams, and we remove some of these conference games from ourselves. But even that, I wonder why would you even do that? Why not just stay separate amongst one another and have all your best teams just play shit schedules?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an idea. I think we were kind of talking about this off air. Why don't we go back to the divisions talks? Because, I mean, even in the NFL, there's the AFC and the NFC, but then there's subdivisions of that.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you could very easily have an outright winner from, say, the SEC East and the SEC West, those are your representatives. It makes it a lot easier than having to draw from a bunch of 10-2 teams. I think you would add some rigidity to it.
I think it was a great idea to remove divisions for the idea of fairness, but if you look at what's happened to the SEC this year, you're almost wondering if you kind of gutted yourselves making everyone play one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas I don't know if other conferences feel this way. People look at the SEC multiple loss teams this year and they're like, oh, the SEC's, they're not as good as they once were. I think it's a confirmation that this conference is as deep as it is always have been. We've always led on to believe it is, because now they're having these crossover games, and now you're seeing far more of these teams take L's.
Yeah, and the other appeal to it was that, finally, we're not going to have a Big Ten West team that's very shitty, that just gets their way to a Big Ten championship, can 8-3 it, and they're in. I mean, Indiana's had a fairly easy schedule up to this point. They're undefeated at this point. So, I mean, like, has it really done that much good in maintaining fairness, or has it just provided avenues for other teams? It's less about what division you're in and more about what schedule do you get this year. Missouri had a very, very doable schedule. If you give Missouri the schedule to Georgia, Texas, Alabama, I think you'd be hard-pressed to say those teams aren't at least one loss or undefeated.
What
right
if you
now.
gave it to Indiana?
Probably a two-loss
$1
team.
million question.
Yeah, so I mean that's the issue.
What would you guys settle for? Would you settle for, I'm arguing for the best 12 teams or the most deserving?
I think you have to at first sacrifice the idea that conference championships matter. Because when you say conference championships matter, you then say all 4 conferences are created equal.
Yeah.
It's never been more clear that that's not the case, 1, and 2, it's never been that way. There's always been kind of a line. It's always been the SEC, the Big Ten. Sometimes the ACC can throw itself in there. They have good years.
With a team.
Exactly. But I mean,
historically, the last 15 years, it's been a ACC team.
Right, but now with the Big 12 doesn't even have Texas or Oklahoma anymore. So
Yeah.
it's very clear that the Big 10 and the SEC are the 2 top premier conferences. They should not be lumped in with the Big 12 and the ACC with having these, the 4 power conferences.
My question is, why even put the strength of schedule metric on the board when we talk about these teams if you're not going to hold that metric as an important factor?
No, you're just asking for controversy at that point.
No shit.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. And 2, I feel like the whole reason why we wanted, or people wanted to push for a 12-team playoff is for seasons exactly like this, where there is a 10-2 Georgia. It's not getting in the traditional 14 playoff, but there's a lot of people that believe they are one of the best teams in the country. So I feel like this is exactly why. So even if they go 10-2, and then for some reason like chaos happens or something else plays out the way that we didn't expect it to, and Georgia maybe doesn't make the cut, just kind of speaking of hypotheticals here, I feel like you're doing a disservice as to why you created this 12-team playoff format. It is for teams like Georgia, who had a much tougher road to get to this point in the season, who had a much tougher schedule than a lot of their other teams in college football, to now all of a sudden, like, they didn't even make this format?
It doesn't even have to be Georgia. I mean, you could look at Ole Miss in this same situation. If Texas, and Texas A&M finish out with 2 losses, you could look at them in this same situation.
Tennessee, if they lose this weekend.
There's a lot of these SEC teams where, and this is what, and again, we may be really, and we're really biased. We live in the Southeastern Conference, footprint. We've always been here. We look at this conference as the supremacy of college football. And maybe we are biased in the sense that we're looking for the best teams. But to a man, if you go, hey, Ole Miss, Indiana, neutral field, 90% of college football fans are going to say Ole Miss wins that football game. And you could do this over and over again. And is that the purpose? Are we really looking for the teams we think are the best? That's why I think you're just better off going with most deserving. And if your team doesn't fit in that deserving list, then everyone looks at you and goes, tough shit, should have handled business.
Yeah, and I really hate having discussions like this, because I mean the ultimate answer is just put the SEC and the Big Ten in a super league. We all agree they're in a league of their own. We all agree that they're not really playing on the same field. The fact that we kind of have these charity events where ACC teams and Big 12 teams kind of get to ride along with that is unfair. And I don't think the super league is the best answer. I think you're really gonna squander the meaning of college football if you do that. But it would negate a lot of this Big 10, Group of 5, ACC things where it's like, okay, we clearly see that these conferences aren't playing on the same level. Why are we recognizing them in the same vein?
Got a hypothetical super chub right here from Bennett Spear. Says Indiana plays Georgia's schedule. What do you think their record is?
I think they lose to Ole Miss, Texas, and Alabama.
Okay.
There's a good chance they lose to Tennessee.
Okay.
There's a good chance they're in a dogfight with Clemson.
Yep.
I mean, 8-4, 7-5. Not to mention, hey, maybe you do stumble against a Kentucky.
Maybe the answer is just to move to 16.
Oh no.
And here's why. I mean, like, No one thinks 17th ranked. Well, South Carolina throws a rink in this whole situation here, because I was about to say nobody thinks somebody outside the top 15 right now is going to win a national title, but South Carolina is kind of hot. I don't think I don't think they're good enough to win a title, but they're good enough to win a first round playoff game.
The problem is and it's this fallacy that just making the playoff a little bit bigger is going to solve all these issues. We made the playoff 3 times bigger, and I'd say you have 3 times the amount of problems you have right now, because there's so many teams where it's like, well, maybe they're deserving. Like, if this was a 14 playoff, the cutoff would honestly be easier.
I don't care about deserving. What I'm fearful of is missing a team that's ranked 13th that on any given Saturday is the best team in college football. That's my fear.
But I don't think that should be the reward for any given Saturday. It's not any given Saturday. It's not the one Saturday you play. It's being the best team 13 weeks out throughout the year. Like, yeah, the Georgia Bulldogs could turn on their best game ever and beat just about any team any given Saturday. But the reality is they haven't done that thus far. That's why they are where they are right now. So, I mean, it can't be – we can't have this hypothetical of, the any given Saturday theory, because that's what college football is. That doesn't mark a champion, in my opinion.
Hard to argue against it.
It is, except for Georgia's 2 any given Saturdays happen against 2 opponents that Indiana they'll face one of those all year long.
True, absolutely
Ohio
true.
State, and Georgia's got 4 of them on the schedule.
That's absolutely true, and I think that's why you have to go to more some relegation of recognizing that conferences aren't created equally. But I don't think the widening of the playoff is going to help this, because any given Saturday, hey, the 15th best team might be that one team that can win it all. I don't think that's
fair. I just think we got to do something with the idea that these conferences are not equal.
Yeah, I think
these schedules are not even close to equal.
I agree, and I think that's the main issue that you're facing right now in college football, because we all have this kind of the committee's operating under this guise of Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC. All of these are the same. The Big 10, undefeated in the Big 10 is the same as undefeated in the SEC. 1 loss in the Big 10 is the same as 1 loss in the SEC, depending on the nuances of, ranked wins, all those types of things. But the records are on par with each other. We can't do that anymore. It's more clear than ever.
All right, welcome in. We got a loaded show for you guys. It is indeed our last show of the week. It will be our best show of the week. We've got, unless it doesn't happen, USC. We're going to talk about them. Bryce Underwood's got a newest offer from Michigan. Who needs to win the most this weekend? Crazy but true. We'll take a peek as well. But first and foremost, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Better. If you're looking for a new place to make college football player props, Better is your answer this season. Enter promo code Brooks over there on Better, and you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $200 over there right now. And I'm going to head over to Better right now and verbally give you this play on air. Normally, we put our fancy little phone up here in the corner of the screen. Guys, we've obviously had technical difficulties over the last couple of weeks. Last thing I want is a stream freezing on us right now, but I do want to get this play in for you guys. So let's go to this LSU at Florida game, and let's see. We only have LSU lines, so we're going to stay away from that football game right now. Let's scroll down to this Oregon-Wisconsin football game. Dylan Gabriel, 265 passing. Let's take the over there. All right, and let's go over to Brandon Locke, the quarterback for Wisconsin, and let's fade the ever-loving hell up out of him. Let's take the under on that one. 2-play multiplier right now. Over there, we'll make it a dynamic play. We'll enter that one. 10 wins you 30 over there on Better. Again, promo code Brooks, 100% deposit match up to $200 over there with our friends. It's a great time. I think I'm like 4-2 this year on Better plays. So if you're hitting props at a 66% winning percentage?
Just about, yeah.
Just about, maybe 60. I think it's 65% winning percentage. That's not that bad on some player props.
No, not bad at all.
So they got some favorable lines for the gamblers over there on Better. Again, promo code Brooks. Shout out to those guys. Make sure you run over there and sign up if you have not already. Let's talk about this Bryce Underwood story, boys. We talked about it, I'd say, like 2 weeks ago? Yeah. 2 weeks ago, we came on the network, talked about Bryce Underwood being offered, I think at the time it was $8 million for 3 years for Bryce Underwood. Now the new report is that he's being offered $10.5 million for 4 years at Michigan. First thoughts about today's news, boys?
This feels stupid to me.
Stupid.
Oh. Yeah, like I get that going out.
Trevor Etienne ruled out for tomorrow's game. I'm seeing right now.
I guess they just
on the latest injury report.
Dropped another injury report.
So somebody dump up off this live stream right now and go ahead and write that one for you, boy. Jonathan, if
Yes.
you want to do that, that's fine.
He got ruled out.
Jonathan's playing injured tonight, so we'll let you write that one.
All right.
Give the larynx a break. That's obviously big news.
It's huge news, especially now Cash Jones. We can talk about this in the local hour, but I mean, Dylan Bell might very well line up in the backfield for that game.
Yeah, I mean, Nate Frazier's going to be your primary ball carrier for the second football game in a row for Georgia. Let's continue this Bryce Underwood discussion. I think it was interesting right after the report broke about this, he was out here Instagram storying photos of him on LSU official visits as if to say, let's not worry about that too much. What do you take into the account of the kids nowadays basically like falsifying the reports?
I mean, let kids do what the kids want. I don't understand why Michigan would throw this amount of money at one player in particular. And I get it. It would be over the span of a couple of seasons. Like, it's not a $10 million contract for 1 year. But, one, if you're Michigan, is quarterback the biggest of your worries right now? Like, is getting a 5-star quarterback going to subsidize and fix all the problems that you have coming down the pipe right now?
I mean, are you talking about with the sanctions and stuff like that?
Not just that. The fact that your roster's been decimated. The fact that your coaching staff got completely decimated when Harbaugh left. Like, I mean, that's fine that you need to start somewhere, and getting a 5-star quarterback is definitely a great start. But, I mean, throwing a bag at a kid so you can get this to happen feels a little counterproductive in my opinion.
They obviously have a lot of issues, or at least a lot of deterioration on the roster and the coaching staff. But I think getting a capable quarterback would change a lot of things right now for Michigan. They have nothing with regards to an ability to throw the football consistently, at least. And I think this would certainly, or at least in their hopes, would certainly change this. Now, here's my question to you. Connor Stallions is now on their staff. They've offered $10.5 million to this young man. They are busing fans. I don't know if you saw this, but they are sending Michigan buses with fans to this young man's high school football game asking for autographs. Okay, you can't say that they aren't trying, and trying like historically hard.
Yeah.
And that's what would be my biggest concern. If I'm a Michigan fan watching this right now, we've offered this kid $10.5 million. We have maybe or maybe not put a coach on their staff. We have, I'm not saying they have, but you see what I'm saying? There's an alignment here. We have gone as far as sending fans to this young man's football game. He's from the Detroit area. And Sharon Moore can't get this guy to commit? That would be my biggest concern.
Not only that.
That's a major concern, in my opinion. We've given this kid everything. There is no reason this 5-star shouldn't be committed to Michigan. And we can't get him to flip from Brian Kelly when they just got beat 42-7 at home while he was on campus. We can't get this kid to flip? That would terrify me.
Not only that, the amount that you've overextended yourself now, you're going to look so foolish if this doesn't work. Like, I mean, at least with Tennessee and Nico, like, they were able to say, yeah, we brought out the Brinks truck for this guy, gave him $8 million. Look what he's on our roster now. And they kind of bragged about it, and, people said, investigate them. The fact is that if you're Michigan, you offered even more than that, and you've got all these fans going to the games, and you've got supposedly a guy who was very much connected to the Michigan program on his coaching staff now in high school, and you still can't get him to flip. That's a horrible look for your program. On top of everything else that's already been kind of a bad look for your program, where you won the national title, your coach pieced out, and you've got all these NCAA investigations coming down the pipe, and now you're going to be, what, a 7-5 football team? If
7-5.
If that.
They're on path for like 6-6.
Just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I know what you were trying to do, but yeah, the Portnoy thing, I think Schofield was telling us before the show. Portnoy's obviously commented on it, said that he's involved, but he can't comment further about it. So he's obviously played a major role in this.
I'm sure he has. I mean,
and it's also, I think, important to note that this is their first counter offer. Right? Can we assume this is our first counteroffer? Or do you assume that Pete Nakos' original reporting was incorrect? Which one are you more likely to believe?
I would assume it's probably a counteroffer.
I would think so too. I would think the $8 million over 3 didn't get him, and now you're offering him 10.5 over 4, and you hope that you can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that's a lesser than APV, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and we don't know the exact logistics of how long the deal would be or exactly how much. We've heard it's $10.5 million, but I mean, there's no official reporting on that, I don't think, is there?
No.
So, I mean,
none of this is official.
Right. But, I mean, the rumor mill is not a good look for Michigan at all. And the fact that it hasn't worked out that, oh, he committed because of this. Like, he's still fighting off these. And, again, I think it's because everyone looks at what that Michigan program has going on the 5-year outlook, and it's not very good. Like, in 5 years, Michigan's program could very well be on some sort of ban with God knows who as the coach. So, I mean, I guess that's what you get for selling your soul for 2024. But
I think the biggest thing for me is, yeah, it's great that you can go do this and you can go potentially buy a 5-star quarterback, but you're not a 5-star quarterback away from being a national title contender again.
Not at
There's
all.
not a whole lot to work with on that offense right now, and you're making this push so late that you're not even going to get like this massive wave of momentum on the recruiting trail just because you have Bryce Underwood now for this class. Most of this class is already wrapped up. Kids are making their decisions, and early National Signing Day is going to be here very soon. So I just think that, yeah, it's great that you can potentially go buy yourself Bryce Underwood, but I don't know how much it's actually going to end up doing for the program.
Very little, I think. I think it's good. I think what you've done now, the amount and the steps and lengths that you've gone to try to get this kid to commit to you is probably going to do more harm than had he ever committed to you in the first place. Because it like Michigan football is going to be I don't want to say a joke, but they're going to be the butt of a lot of jokes if they can't get this flip to go through. So I don't know.
I mean, I'm already laughing at him for not having it done already.
Exactly. And imagine if he does sign with LSU.
I mean, but it seems he is. I mean, as soon as the reports dropped today, he's out here tweeting or Instagramming his photos of an OV from this LSU visit this past weekend. So very interesting to say the least. To continue the recruiting conversations, boys, our man Lincoln Riley not doing so hot out there in LA right now.
Shocker.
It's getting bad.
I mean, I can't believe it.
So here was my take on this. Obviously, if you haven't heard the news, Hayden Lowe flipped to Miami yesterday, a 2025 commit, and Shamar Arnaud.
I think it's Arnaud.
Arnaud. I should know this.
The X's always throw me off.
I should know this.
Too.
He's from. He goes to Carrollton High School right now. Formerly of Milton, also formerly of Roswell. Now formerly of USC, committed to Auburn today, flipped. And it looks like, obviously, I think everyone believes that they're going to lose Julian Lewis in this class as well.
Looking more and more.
I don't
like
think anybody thinks they're going to hold on to that one. Here's my theory on this. And this isn't me. This isn't a first-time take. You know, people have obviously landed upon this one before. But Lincoln's like really trying to recruit the Southeast, and that's a good idea. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's a lot of good football players down here, right? I love James Johnson, the wide receiver out of Douglas County that he's got in this 2025 class. But like, here's the problem about recruiting the Southeast when you're a USC head football coach. You got to win, and the reason you got to win, unlike some of these schools around here that recruit these areas of the state, you have to win because you don't get to come see these guys very often. They're going to you because they like the shiny things when they're out there on visits. But if you're losing football games, all they got is bad taste in their mouth the entire offseason after they've committed to you. Shamar Arnaud probably hasn't been out to LA recently. And if he has, he's probably been to Auburn a little bit more frequently over the last 6 months. I think we would all agree. It's only about 90 minutes from where he currently goes to high school in Carrollton. So when you go down here and you recruit these kids, you've got to have really good taste in their mouth on Saturday when they watch you on television, because they damn sure ain't out there shaking hands and kissing babies with you as often as they are down here in the Southeast. So you're seeing a lot of these kids flip to closer schools because, well, they get to see those schools a whole lot more often, and you're only recruiting off your wins and losses. And, buddy, you ain't winning football games right now.
And it's not just that. I mean, USC, the brand of USC has not been what it was for 20 years. Like, let's just be real. And maybe we can be generous and say 10, but the reality is, like, the USC that we grew up saying, you know, wow, the Reggie Bushes, the Matt Leinerts, the premier, all the celebrities on the sideline, all those things about it, like, these kids don't remember that. These kids were born at the peak of USC football. So, like, they can't relate to that as much, one. So the prospect of them and playing for this quote-unquote historic program is not there anymore. Like, USC has not been, like, a great program for the majority of these recruits' lives.
This is like the last thing you could have happen if you're Lincoln Riley.
Oh, yeah, it's over.
Of And we knew this when it seemed like this entire class really hinged off of Julian Lewis. Like, you had to get him, and if you didn't get him, then this entire class was going to feel like a failure. But, I mean, it just kind of kept being pulled apart. You got Justice Terry and you got Isaiah Gibson to commit to your school. Those guys end up decommitting from them. So, I mean, it's just kind of been an unfortunate series of events for Lincoln Riley on the recruiting show. But you're right. I mean, there is no momentum around this program. And I feel like that you can also say that there doesn't feel like there's any certainty in the head coach right now either, just how things have gone. And so I think you're seeing that based on how he's coaching on Saturdays as well, like going to the backup quarterback this week and Jaden Mayava. I think that shows that this is a desperation time for Lincoln Riley of we got to try and figure something out, something positive to go our way so we can fuel this program back up and get some positive vibes going back.
I get the feeling that he knows it's over, honestly. Like, and I know he's making moves to do all the things, but there doesn't feel to be a sense of urgency from USC's program, especially not the one there was when he first got out there.
There's also a lot of rumors that, at least in the recruiting circles, that some of these schools, USC may or may not be included, may make some type of deposit to get initial commitments. You know, or maybe certain promises. Hey, if you commit to us now, maybe this will show up. Because there's a lot of these football coaches right now that have recognized what we recognized on this network, I don't know, as soon as we started doing this. The quickest way to get fired is to lose recruiting momentum.
Yep.
And the quickest way to get momentum on your side is to gain recruiting momentum. You know how many people were out here like, y'all buried Lincoln Riley, and look, here he is coming back fighting for good news. When they got that run of commits this summer, everybody's like, ooh, Lincoln Riley can't do it. There's a lot of big, high names out here going, see, told you, Lincoln Riley, properly rated. I mean, is he? I don't know. He can't hold on to these guys. And that's why I personally would stay the hell away from this area of the country unless I was already a dominant program. Pete Carroll didn't start coming out here until he started winning national titles. And then he was like, you know what? Let's go mess around in South Florida and see if we can pull a dude out.
Yeah, and it's so weird how the regions of college football have changed because, I mean, California still has absorbent amounts of talent, but I think with just modern day travel and all those things, like, it's not as exclusive to California anymore. You see SEC teams going and get California guys all the time, highly talented California guys. I don't think USC has the ability to go into the Southeast right now and do that because, one, like you said, you're not seeing them as much, and two, USC's not in a position to win, to win enough to get these guys' attention. I mean, you can throw a bag at them and that sometimes works out. That's great. But, I mean, you just had Caleb Williams, who people believe was one of the best quarterback prospects ever. Some argue he was one of the best quarterbacks of the modern era of college football. Some argue, not me. And you went 8-4 with him. So,
boys, this is going to sound absolutely crazy. I mean, asinine, but it's indeed true. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
East Carolina's football coach was recently fired,
Mm-hmm.
like within the last month. They are ranked 15 spots ahead of Vandy in the 2025 Classic rankings.
What?
East Carolina's football coach was fired less than a month ago, and they are ranked 15 spots ahead of Vanderbilt in the 2025 recruiting rankings.
How is that possible?
I don't know. It's pretty damn crazy.
That's insane.
But it's true. Now, they're also about 7 or 8 spots higher than Colorado, but we know Colorado don't give a shit about high school.
They're a
recruiting.
portal team.
We know that. But yeah, I was relatively surprised to see that my boy Clark Lee not doing much with old Uncle Mo on his side.
No, that's unfortunate because, I mean, like, you want this to be the year where it's like, hey, Vanderbilt, like, figured things out and they kind of really got some momentum going and they're able to not be the punching bag of the SEC anymore, but it feels more just like this is kind of a flash in the pan season with, you know, Diego Pavia kind of leading the way. And I think that it's looking more and more like once Diego Pavia leaves that they're probably going to regress back to the punching bag of the SEC, which I don't want them to be because this was such a fun season for them to watch. But
this sounds absolutely crazy, but it's indeed true. Brady Cook had better preseason Heisman odds than Ashton Genty.
ooh,
Everybody was sleeping. Everybody was
that's a
sleeping.
good one.
Not you, baby.
I was not.
Not you. You might
I
have took a
was
nap
not.
today, but you were not sleeping on Ashton Genty.
I had to make sure I got the juices back for tonight's episode. Last show, best show, had to get everything back in order. But
I'm proud of you for fighting.
I hope that our listeners listen to me and saying like, you know what, Jonathan thinks that Ashton Jeanty might win the Heisman. I should probably go put some money on that.
Hell
I hope you
might
did.
be able to pay a couple months mortgages.
Might be able to. Might be able to put you some more parlays out after.
Daddy
that one.
needs a new pair of shoes.
Yep.
There you go. Here's one that's pretty crazy. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets have more top 10 wins than any other team currently ranked in the AP top 10.
You should tweet that.
That's a crazy one.
You
isn't
should
it?
tweet that. Now, those aren't current.
No,
ranked teams,
obviously,
right?
look,
No.
obviously Florida State is a top
Miami.
10 win, and we
Yeah.
know Florida State is anything but a top team. They're not even a top 100 team, I would argue, right now. But statistically, they have 2 top 10 wins right now, which is more than Georgia, which is more than Texas, which is more than, the list goes on and on. So all those Big Ten teams as well.
This one's obviously been stated even on this network before, but it's so crazy and it's so true that it has to be in this segment. Georgia's played more road games versus ranked teams than they have home games at this point in the season.
Good Lord.
They've got 4 road games against top 25 ranked opponents and 3 home games to this point in the season.
Here's one that's not as crazy, but I think had we said this coming into week 1, it would have been pretty crazy. The Colorado Buffaloes and the Georgia Bulldogs have the same record right now. And we're going into week 12 of the college football season.
That's kind of crazy.
If I'd have told you that going into week 0, before, when Clemson and when Georgia,
Fire Kirby.
yeah, or Deion
Sanders
Deion
actually
Sanders
did
did something crazy. Holy shit!
Coach of the year or fire the other guy.
Yeah, like
no in between.
If immediately after walking off the field of that Georgia Clemson game, I said, I looked into the future. At week 12, Georgia and Colorado are going to have the same records. That would be insane.
That would have been insanity. Crazy but true, and this isn't even a joke. Dana Holgorsen showed up at Nebraska 6 days ago and was calling plays this weekend.
Hell yeah, dude! Shout out Nebraska.
Hey, they got some momentum for them now. They got, especially because they go play USC this weekend.
Hell yeah.
One got no momentum.
Hell yeah.
The other one got some momentum.
I think we know this. I think we've known this one, but Ashton Jeanty has scored more points than the entire FSU offense this season.
That's delightful.
That's disgusting if
That's
you're a Florida
delightful.
State fan.
No, I love hearing that.
One group of 5 running back has scored more points than your entire
You
football
gosh dang
team.
right.
Ugh. Awful. You got any more you want?
I'm cashed out.
I've got one more. These teams have combined for less 10-win seasons than Indiana over the last 5. Combined. Florida, Auburn, and Miami have combined for less 10-win seasons than Indiana.
Well, it's because they combined for 0.
True.
Yeah.
But Florida, Auburn, Miami, 3 of the more recognizable brands in college football have less 10-win seasons than Indiana.
And this stat's going to last about 36 hours because Miami's going to have their 10th win this weekend, right?
True.
Yes.
Well, no, because that would be one 10-win season.
Ah,
that would tie with
they'd
Indiana.
be tied.
Aha.
So it's going to go till next
Love
year.
a good caveat.
Some of
Never
these,
had caviar, but I love a good
you
caveat.
never had caviar?
No.
It's pretty good.
Do I look like I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth?
Do I look like I grew up with a silver spoon?
No,
Don't
but-
answer that.
How much does caviar cost nowadays?
I mean, it's pretty
I'm sure
expensive.
research can get on
We
it.
did it. I had it at a vacation once. So,
You were living it up.
yeah.
This is on mom and dad's dime.
For
though,
sure.
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I didn't buy it. Yeah, this was like a couple years ago in high school.
That's awesome that your parents are rich enough for caviar.
I don't know if that. I mean, maybe. I'm not pocket watching Pops, so
Are we taking a peek?
yes. This is a good take a peek week.
It is take a peek week. I don't think it's a good take a peek week.
This
It is a bunch of games that you wouldn't feature on your primary television.
This is take a
Never.
peek week and see what's sticking because one of these games is going to end up being close. So
So it's a sticky week.
you can call it that. I don't know if I want to call it that, but
Why not?
I don't know. Sticky's got a connotation to it that
Sticky week in November? Who's against that?
I mean, some people don't do the entire month.
Couldn't be me.
Well played.
What are you taking a peek at, Christian?
I'm going to take a peek at this Clemson versus Pitt game. I think that both of these teams have, I think we've all kind of understood that neither of these teams are really relevant. Neither of these teams are really good, but there are some interesting storylines, and particularly on Clemson's spot. If Clemson can't win this game, and it could get ugly, I think things could get kind of ugly for Dabo Swinney. So I'll be intermittently looking in and taking a peek at that one.
I mean, you guys said that Pitt's got no chance. So
I think you're doing a little gaslighting for the audience here. We both said that Pitt's not a very good team, but
for those of you who haven't noticed what has obviously gone down this week, I have very clearly infected Jonathan with whatever I had earlier in the week because my man is hurting right about now.
That's all right.
You up next, Kirby.
Yeah, I'm fearing.
You want to know?
life.
Yeah, Mike, I'm spitting your water right now, just to make sure. But that's okay because tomorrow I get to sit down on my couch and I get to take a peek. I'm not actually. I'll say it's taking a peek just because I'm actually going to be watching this one. But I get to watch Houston and Arizona. Been a minute since I checked in on these two teams.
Yes.
I kind of overshot Houston's record at one moment this year, but it ended up paying out for me anyways. Arizona, haven't watched them since like week 3 of the year when I was like, oh.
It's nice because anytime you watch Arizona at night, you get to watch a grown man get laid.
There you go. Now you're getting in on the fun.
Hell yeah.
A little T-Mac and throw the. This is
What?
Pietro McMillan, the wide receiver, but
Oh, yeah. That T-Mac.
yeah,
I thought you were talking about Oopin, like Tracy McGrady.
no, not that one. I think this is the ultimate take a peek game. The definition of just flip to that channel really quick and see what this. Maybe don't even watch the game, just see what it is on your phone, because it has the potential to get ugly, but it also has the potential to be one of those historic, old-fashioned, classic Purdue upsets. I'm gonna take a peek at Penn State Purdue.
No, you're not.
I'm gonna
No, you're not.
Look. The definition of taking a peek is literally just checking, saying, "Oh, what's the score to this game?" Intermittently check, because if you get to it at halftime, it's like, wait, Penn State's only got a 1-score lead, or maybe Purdue's leading. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but be willing enough to take a peek and say, "Hey, wait a minute, the Boilermakers might do this damn thing." I'm taking a peek at that, and it's going to be the most brief peek ever.
I ain't even going to take a peek at this one. I'm going to get labeled a stalker. I'm going to stare at this one so long. Sam Houston State at Kennesaw State this weekend.
Oh,
I want to see.
I want to see what
I want to see what a program looks like when you rip their soul and identity up out of their body. That's what I want to see. I want to see what the Kennesaw State Owls look like when Brian Bohannon's sitting at home thinking, man, this athletic director is a jamoke. 16 points that San Houston State is laying doesn't seem like enough. Doesn't seem like enough. I don't know how and this is what I'm excited to see. I wonder how this team gets itself up off the mat. I really do.
We have a quarterback duo of the ages this weekend that's occurring, and it's 2 of my personal favorites, 2 that I have deemed on my side of this team that I have. We got Fernando Mendoza with the Golden Bears of California.
This
You've been
is on my
riding
list.
Mendoza.
And Kyle McCord absolutely slinging it this weekend. It's a 3 p.m. kick, too.
Talk to me, Daddy.
Ooh, I'll be getting nice and ready for the Georgia-Tennessee game by main screening Syracuse and California.
You were first on the Mendoza wagon.
I was, and people laughed at me. So much so that Miami fans on Twitter, I found out they exist because they hopped in my mentions telling me that I was dumb for even considering that Fernando Mendoza might play well against
And then what did the Doza do? Went for 350 on nothing but halfback and tight end screens.
Yep.
Basically.
I can't
Shout out
believe Miami
Mendoza.
won that game.
At 3:30, when I'm absolutely locked up into LSU at Florida, I'm going to be taking a peek at Virginia and Notre Dame.
Virginia.
I am so rooting for the downfall of the Irish. Now,
We'll
look,
talk about that a little later.
we did it. We took Miami down. This show did it. I know Georgia
did
Tech
it.
thinks they beat them. They did not. This show did it. This show took Miami down, and we've set our sights on those coward Irishmen. That's who we're going after. You take a poop on your home field against Northern Illinois, you're going to take another poop this weekend against Virginia. Give me the Hoosiers.
Crumb Dumb's getting a little brown, huh?
Yes.
I'm going to be taking a peek at Boston College at SMU. I think that SMU is one of these teams that could kind of get their way into the playoff. Obviously, if they win the ACC, they'll do it. But I'm not really concerned. I'm not really confirmed that they're a top 12 team. So I'm kind of wanting to see how they handle Boston College. Boston College by no means is going to be a metric for if they're a playoff team or not. But this does kind of smell like a little bit of a trap game for the Mustangs. So I'm going to be taking a peek at this one.
I'm 100% taking a peek at Cincinnati at Iowa State.
Oh,
I'm going to see if Iowa State fumbles it 3 weeks in a row.
Lock in.
Cincinnati been one of these sneaky Big 12 teams too. That I think they're a pretty solid football team, especially for that conference. Iowa State has slipped up twice. I'm going to see if it happens again this week. I'm taking a peek at that one.
I like it.
I got a loser go home football game.
Ooh, I think I know what it
Loser
is.
goes home. What game is it?
Is it the Nebraska USC?
No, it is not. We're not firing any football coaches out there. Though Lincoln might go home soon. But no. This one's got loser goes home written all over it.
Who is it?
Wake at North Carolina.
Ooh, yeah.
Wake
Are they
at
gonna-
North
Are
Carolina.
they gonna do that to
Wake's
Mac?
staring down a couple of
smell
4-8
the stench
seasons
from over
again.
here.
You can smell the stench from
That's
over there.
nasty.
Are they gonna do that to Mac?
dude. Huh?
Are they gonna do that to the boy Mac? Dude,
I mean, they're
gonna
gonna politely walk Mac to the stall. you know, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You're going out
They're
to
gonna-
pasture, big fella.
Yeah, they're gonna say, "All right, Mac. Maybe it's time we step down, call it a career." But
Lee Corso's retiring, Mac. Time to go put some headgear on, brother.
Lee Corso is not retiring. I'll go ahead and say I'm taking a peek at Nebraska USC. These are two programs that kind of had high expectations coming into the season and looked relatively good, and very quickly the wheels fall off and got ugly for both of these programs. I'll be taking a peek to see how both of these teams that have had, for all extensive purposes, really disappointing seasons handle each other.
I'm all out.
You're all out of peaks.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a peek at this Texas-Arkansas football game this weekend.
I was going to watch that one.
Taylor Green
That might
might
be
be
a
healthy.
Rumors swirling that this might be the last one for Sam Pittman.
They're cooking him?
This might be his last season.
Who does Arkansas hire?
Who the no?
Is he
No.
stepping down?
I don't know.
He has looked burnt out. for
I've
a
just
while.
heard that even though that they did beat Tennessee, that the blowout losses to Ole Miss and some other ones as of late have not helped the
Oh,
case.
man, I can't wait to be told 1,000 times in my mention that Georgia should hire him as the offensive line coach.
Sam Pittman's calling it a career.
I can already see it.
Yes,
sir.
That was pretty cool.
That was
I'd call it a career.
yeah, dude.
Take them millions and walk off with
Yeah,
your big
dude.
hog.
You got your big hog.
You
not
think
gonna
he-
get any
you think
bigger,
He has
but-
that bronze hog removed.
Heck no.
Nah, dude.
He's hogging it the rest of
If
his
you're
life.
putting a bronze hog in your backyard, that shit's there to stay for a while, even if you get fired.
I mean, pretty hard to move. You would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah,
Yes,
dude.
you would think so.
You can't sell that. It's not like a resellable object.
Oh, there's some
probably
Archie fan
there's
that would
probably
buy
some Fayetteville frat that'll pony up.
Some
the money for it.
Tyson CEO.
it. Yeah.
No,
Some
maybe-
Walmart exec.
Yeah.
It's a big hog fan.
It's gonna be
Upper
fun.
management of Walmart having a 400-pound hog in the backyard.
It's gonna be funny if Arkansas wins on Saturday and Sam Pittman's just like, "Fuck, I gotta do this again next year." like, because he's gonna get extended after.
Someone said he ought to turn the bronze hog into a smoker, a barbecue pit
That'd
smoker.
be sick, dude. Sam Pittman knows how.
I
to
think
smoke.
that would be a little demented, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there
Smoking
would be
pig
some
inside
people
of a
that-
pig. I think Pete'd get a little upset.
Nah.
Not
about
even
that.
Peter, dude. That does look a little like.
Brother, we got people making smokers out of filing cabinets. You can make a smoker out of anything you want.
That's true. That's true. Have you ever had smokers filing cabinet meat?
I have not.
It's pretty. It tastes like smoked meat. It's
I
pretty
will
good.
say this: nothing makes me more confident that the food that I'm about to have is about to smack than a barbecue pit being dragged behind a vehicle.
Yeah.
My uncle
If
has
I
one of
see
those.
you towing your smoker, that thing smacks.
My
There's
uncle
no
has one
doubt.
of these. And
Yeah, so does
everything he
mine.
makes on it does indeed
So
smack.
good.
When I
dude.
pulled up to this is real inside the show right here. When I pulled up to CJ Madden's house to shoot his original commitment video to the University of Georgia, his dad pulled up in a Yukon with the smoker still
Ooh.
smoking.
Oh,
GMC
Yeah, buddy.
Yukon?
Yeah, buddy. GMC Yukon pulling the smoker behind, still smoking. We were following mans through I-285 traffic, driving about 75 on a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit, weaving in and out of traffic with the smoker behind him. And I was like, you know what? I'll bet them ribs absolutely smack.
now I
Man,
need
now I'm
barbecue.
hungry.
Went into the garage and they had a fish fryer. On the fryer it said fish only, and I was like, man, I
You
bet
got a
the
fish
food-
only
I
fryer?
bet
I
the
haven't had-
food here.
When was the last time you
smacks.
had some deep fried catfish, man?
Been too long.
There's a place on the lake that I go to that has some deep fried catfish and it's good.
I think the last time I did was at the UGA dining hall.
Sir,
Sir,
It wasn't bad. Dude, it's hard to mess catfish up. Let's be fair.
you better be dousing that sucker in hot sauce.
No, dude, it was good without it. It's hard to mess up catfish. Let's be
I
fair.
mean, it's a bottom feeder fish anyway.
Yeah, it's not like the most luxurious of meat, but damn, it's good.
Mm.
Ooh, some fried catfish.
What's the
collard
chaos loss
greens.
this weekend, boys?
Oh, I could go ahead and tell you. I'll
I'll
have to
go.
wait.
Apparently
I'll go
you've got a
first.
good one.
I'll go
have to
first.
wait though
I'll
because
go
that's
first.
part of mine unless it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna go first just to save it for you, but I think it's Tennessee. Because I mean, if Tennessee wins, like the crash course of the supposed and doomsday, all these teams have 2 losses doesn't really happen. Georgia has 3 losses; they're out of there. Tennessee's still sitting there with 1 loss, kind of looking good for the rest of the year. So, I think if Tennessee loses, you're on the crash course for the God, here comes the 13 2-loss SEC teams that we're gonna have to choose from. So, I think it's Tennessee.
I got Oregon losing to Wisconsin would be pretty chaotic. It makes a lot of 1-loss Big Ten teams because I do think Indiana's going to lose to Ohio State. And then you don't know. I guess the head-to-head would put Ohio State and Oregon maybe back into the Big Ten championship. But nonetheless, I think it makes it a lot more difficult.
But would that not then make Indiana's loss that much better?
That's what I'm saying. It's a chaotic loss.
Yeah.
If Oregon loses this weekend, the Big Ten's looking at an 11-1 situation that Georgia or the SEC's looking at in terms of a 10-2 situation.
Yeah.
What's your chaos loss? Break it down.
I was going to say it's either Texas loses to Arkansas this weekend, or it is. I think Tennessee adds some chaos, but also at the same time we've said that if they lose this weekend, they're probably out. So I don't know if
They have the worst. They have the worst. Well, is Vandy beating Arkansas on a neutral field? Which loss looks worse, at Vandy or at Arkansas?
Oh, at
At
Arkansas.
Vandy, I would
At
say.
Arkansas looks worse.
See, we're even split on that.
But Vandy showed life this season.
this season.
Like
But
if-
I'm
if-
talking about like you walked into an SEC stadium. If you had to ask me which one would you rather walk into and try and come out of a win with?
And maybe it won't even come down to that because Alabama's got the key win over LSU
yeah,
True.
and Georgia.
And
that's why I
Georgia.
think. That's why.
And Tennessee doesn't have one of those.
That's why I think
They have
it is.
Bama.
They have Bama at home. You're right. I'm an ignorant idiot.
That's why I think it would be Texas if Texas loses this weekend, because then you're at ground zero. You're back where you freaking started with the SEC of who the heck
Yeah,
it
well, I mean,
is.
if Texas loses this weekend, I think it becomes very easy to put Texas out because, hey, we gave you all these easy challenges. The hardest team you played was Georgia. You lost to them at home. And then, oh, by the way, you lost to another team that you look like you're about to rob a bank. Dude, I didn't realize how much black you had on. Holy shit, dude. Like he's like a spy or something. You old enough for? Were you did you ever watch Catch That Kid? Catch That Kid, the Disney movie.
Lord.
You are insulting the active military or the former military that we have on studio right now. I just want to let you know. What were we talking about, J-Lo?
We're talking about Texas,
Oh, Texas.
losing.
Texas, how basically Texas has no signature win. Like, Texas is where they are because they beat the shit out of a bunch of teams early in the season and a Michigan team that turns out wasn't very good. And now they've lost to Georgia and subsequently a Arkansas team that we also don't think is top tier. So I think it makes it very easy to put Texas out if they lose.
Yeah, I mean they could be in. The thing is, though, is that, and this is something that again, it's so hard to figure out. Would Texas still be in a spot to make the SEC championship if they did lose this weekend?
They could be, but I think that's their only ticket back into the playoff if that's the case.
Yeah,
It's similar to LSU where it's like you're on the outside looking in, but you need chaos and you need to win the SEC championship now.
I don't know.
Chat's saying that you're hinting at the jersey selection this week.
Yeah, I've already got confirmed reports. They're black and wearing black jerseys. You heard it here first. Breaking news.
Oh, you did not do that, dude.
Yeah, I did. Aggregators run with
I
it.
didn't know we were starting unless it doesn't happen early.
I didn't know we were just lying on air.
No, I'm gonna try to see who I could get. Somebody's writing the article right now, and then just because you did that, they're gonna stop writing that article, and they're like, "Damn."
Yeah, but do you want to be the face of
Yeah, but
misinformation?
what they don't understand is we specifically said that so we would be the only ones to make this claim.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're throwing them off the scent now.
we're trolling.
What if we just became a trolling show?
Isn't that kind of what Thursdays are?
Yeah.
Like this one right
forget
here.
the film studies. Forget all the analysis bullshit that we do. We're just gonna troll everyone now.
Honestly, we might gain subscribers like way harder, way faster. I mean, one of the biggest and fastest growing YouTube channels on the internet right now was the dude that started doing videos last year where he goes to big college football games and dresses up as an opposing team's fan
Yep.
and stands in the middle of the fucking walkway and just gets yelled at by opposing fans.
Yep.
He's got 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, and then let's be fair.
And here I am.
I mean,
Here we are,
Yeah,
working our ass off.
yeah.
Maybe we are doing it wrong.
Maybe we need to start trolling.
Yeah, maybe we just need to start living in our mom's basement and just saying stupid stuff on the internet. Ooh, I know what we can do. We can get a former Georgia player to come on here and talk about how one of his teammates shit in another teammate's shoe. And then we'll go viral. That's what we'll do.
Oh, it's getting personal.
Unless it doesn't happen. The power of Wrigley compels you. The power of Wrigley compels you. You got a weekend away from the soccer stadium, does Northwestern. Got Ohio State coming into the house of the
baseball
Chicago Cubs.
field.
We're going to the baseball field because the soccer stadium doesn't hold enough of you Ohio State Buckeye fans. So here we go. Wrigley is an absolute death trap this weekend for Ohio State. You heard it here first.
That's fair. When's the last time you saw The Exorcist?
Is that what that's from?
I'm going to say never then. That answers my question.
It's time that America receives the justice that it deserves. They have been suffering for too long this year, far too long. It gets put to a stop this weekend. A 23-point underdog on the road is the most dangerous thing in the world, and it's the most dangerous thing that this team has ever seen before. One might say the underdog is more battle-tested than the favorite in this one. Ladies and gentlemen, do not worry anymore because the Virginia Cavaliers are going to save us all. Virginia upsets Notre Dame. See you later, Irish.
That would make things so much easier if that happened. Notre Dame, please, just lose the game. Please.
Get the hell out of here.
Please.
Get the hell out of here.
I'm going to go ahead and have the country do us another favor. I was super hot. You know what? We were super hot on this team coming into the season. We said, damn it, they're a Big 12 champion playoff team. Shit the bed, absolutely shit the bed. Embarrassed us bad. Then beat the shit out of Houston. Beat Iowa State that some people thought was a top 10 team. You know what? They're doing it again this week because the Kansas Jayhawks are going to beat the BYU Cougars and get their playoff hopes out of here.
You're riding the dragon one more time, huh?
I'm back.
You know
I'm
what?
back on the Jayhawks. Rock chalk, baby. I know it's never out.
Dude's got his 30-day chip, and he's out here messing around like that.
Forget the chip. I don't need it. I'll get another one.
Put another saddle on it because I'm hopping on with you. Only I'm making it way more extreme. Yeah, this is just one piece to the three-piecer right here.
Yeah.
All right, November was made for chaos. Pressure is at an all-time high.
Yes.
College football playoff hopes are alive in every single conference now, thanks to the 12-team playoff. But it'll also smack you right in the face if you're not ready for it. So we've got three teams battling for a spot in a conference championship right now. And all three of them are going down this weekend. I've got Utah taking down Colorado. I got Kansas taking down BYU. And I've also got Kansas State taking an L to Cam Scatterboo and Arizona State.
A real Roman helmet going on out there in the Big 12 this weekend.
Dude,
huh?
sink the Big 12.
Yes.
Let's make the Big 12 so bad that the committee goes, you know what, we just changed the rules. There's not 4 auto bids anymore. Get these guys out of here.
Speaking of the Big 12, let's talk about a former member of the Big 12, Nebraska. Dana Holgorsen got there 6 days ago. You heard it here first. They throw for 350 yards on them USC Trojans. Nebraska Cornhuskers pull off the dub in L.A.
Ooh. I'm going to piggyback off that. Last week, Cam Ward was the front runner of the Heisman race. He lost. He's out of there. Now, he can probably still backdoor his way into it. God damn it. Might still win the Heisman. But this week, Ashton Genty takes the reins and is the Heisman frontrunner after he rushes for 200 yards against San Jose State and Nebraska beats Colorado. So I'm taking your take
Nebraska
and kind of
play
building.
Colorado.
If it was only that easy, my friend.
Still.
San
Colorado's
Jose
going to
State.
take a loss. I hear you. Utah.
Yes.
Red
that's
and
what-
white school.
Whoops.
It's all good.
Shit happens.
You know, everybody gets a breather in the month of November. I feel like that's a beautiful thing about it is despite all the pressure that is put on these programs, everybody gets one of these games of, hey, here's Mercer. Here's a nice, easy win. Now. That's not where I'm going.
He's doing it.
A nice, easy non-conference game, especially for a program that is in desperate need of just another win in the W column. But that's unfortunate because it's not happening this weekend. The easy wins don't exist for this program, apparently, and especially not when UL Monroe is coming into town. Hugh Freeze, Auburn Tigers, buckle in, buddy, because it's going to be a long one on Saturday.
ULM taking them down.
How
I like
hot does that
this.
seat get if you lose to New Mexico State in one season and then immediately follow up with, what are they, 2-6, right? 2-7 right now, 3-6.
Does Deuce Knight flip to Ole Miss?
Oh,
Yeah,
That compounds it?
sure.
Maybe.
Let's get a doomsday scenario for our boy Hugh.
That'd be cool. DJ Lagway returns on one leg this weekend to slay the Tigers. Bombs over Baghdad style. Florida beats LSU this weekend. You heard it here first.
Has he already been confirmed to be playing? Or?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
he's
is.
playing.
So
On one leg.
Yep. He's going to have the Forrest Gump leg brace on one of them.
Magic legs.
Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs.
how long does it take before that movie starts getting like insensitive?
But it's
I'm not
it's
a
based
smart
on
man,
real
JD,
events.
but I know what love is.
It's based on real events, but it's the fictional character around it.
It's not a fictional character. Forrest Gump is very real.
You ain't never ate at Bubba Gump Shrimp?
Oh my god!
You've never been to Bryant-Denny Stadium and seen the Forrest Gump statue?
Let me guess. You don't think Apple exists?
Everybody talks about Devin Hester, but Forrest Gump was the greatest returner I've ever seen him.
Oh my god! I will not be gaslit into thinking that Forrest Gump is a real human being.
Let me guess, snapper
Y'all
lawnmowers don't exist
Y'all probably
either.
didn't even know that Forrest Gump is based on a book.
I actually didn't know that.
The Mercer Bears are not to be trifled with, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go.
They are not. They are not the one to think that you can, we had a great win last week. Let's roll our helmets out like we're in Nashville, Tennessee all over again. Mercer Bears 9-1. They give Alabama everything they've got, and they've got a dub in the column for at least a quarter.
Just a quarter?
Just a quarter.
It's unless it doesn't happen and we're saying in just a quarter.
All right. Screw it. They take a lead into half. You heard it here first.
I'll let that one slide.
Them Bears is hell, man. Bears over elephants.
Look how far we've come. Look how far we've come.
Bear
as a
beat
program.
Battlestar Galactica.
Look how far we've come as a program. Where 4 weeks into the
I see
season,
what you did there.
I said, "Hey guys, this Vanderbilt Alabama game, kind of a sneaky one." Everyone shut it down. Everyone said, "Hell no, Kirby. What are you talking about? You're wrong." Now we've got Dan Brooks over here saying that the Mercer Bears are going to give Alabama a sweater.
Bears.
And you know what? You two share something in common.
The Bears,
You both were cowards on the tape. Both of you didn't even go all the way. One is, I lead into halftime. It might happen.
Bro, I was hammering for 3 straight days like, hey, look out for Vanderbilt. And no one
Breaking news, Mike Tyson just hit Jake Paul during their weigh-in.
Dude, don't get me excited for that fight. It's not a real fight, dude. I can't buy into it.
What is a real fight is what the Mercer Bears are bringing to the doorsteps of the Alabama Crimson Tide
Did
on
he
Saturday.
actually hit him?
Yeah, he kind of.
I'm going to stop doing my job real quick and watch this.
I love that. I love that.
Didn't know you ever started.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, we'll see you in the local hour. Don't know you. Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grab some tape. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back in to our final hour of content here on the Film Guy Network this week. Last hour, best hour. Let's get after it. We got a great one for you. Sunday's headlines today. Who needs a career day for Georgia this weekend? We'll give you a betting line update because there seems to be some movement in that one. Everything on the line Saturday, question mark. 3 reasons Georgia wins, 3 reasons Tennessee wins, and we're going to talk about Sundays. We're going to tease tomorrow's big news. We got big news tomorrow, boys. Should we talk about that now?
Yeah, I did it.
Should we wait?
Is the McRib back?
I've heard it is.
I never had a McRib, by the way.
Me neither.
I always heard that.
They used to have them in the school lunches. They
Oh, no,
slapped.
I've had one of those. Those things hit.
Yeah.
Not as much as octagonal Mexican pizza, though.
Oh, amen. Amen.
Octagonal Mexican
with
pizza.
the diced pepperoni.
Oh, come on now. Talk to me. No, but we got big news tomorrow. If you're in the Athens area, feel free to bombard my Paul Feinbaum hit. I'll be on Paul Feinbaum tomorrow at 6:30. What is that area called that I'm going to be
That's
at?
Myers Quad, I believe.
No. It's not the Myers Quad.
Oh.
It's the circle outside of one of the libraries. Right there by the hall parking deck. Give me a second. I actually have the actual
Oh, I know
area.
what you're talking about. It's not Myers Quad. It's I think it's just Whole Street.
This is in front of the Special Collections Library.
I didn't spend too much time in
Yeah,
the library.
I wasn't doing a lot of collections at the library.
Well, it's a good thing you guys aren't paid to read and you're paid to talk, so that's good.
I did a lot of reading. I just didn't do it at the library.
So, yeah, we'll be there tomorrow. If you want to come out and bombard that, feel free to do so. I do want to say this. Last year, I can't count how many games last year I saw Film Guy Network signs in the stands. I haven't seen any this year.
Slacking.
Yeah, no, I don't want to call anybody out.
Let's
but
also be fair. There's been 3 home games
this is
year.
true. This is true. However, most of the signs I saw last year were away games that I remember. We went on the Georgia Athletics Instagram posted a fan from Tennessee holding up a TFN sign. I got one from Georgia Tech that I saw out there that I took a photo. I'm just saying, it's not happening as often as it used to.
Maybe we need to start paying for more plants.
I'm not upset about it, but I'm upset about it. And you're right. I probably do need to start paying for more plants. What do you want to start this local hour with, boys? Do we want to start with Sunday's headlines today? Or do we want to start with who needs a career day? Or do we want to start with the betting line update?
You're going to tell us who, so.
I want to start with the betting line update.
That's right.
It's the one moving the most.
I want to start with the betting line update.
All right, what do you got for us? It's moved to 10.5.
It's moved to 10.5. It started at 8.5.
And you're the one that's got all these, tinfoil hat theories about this.
So, I mean, well, it indicates that you're getting a lot of money on it because
a lot of action.
A lot of action because if it jumped 2 points in the span of, I think it opened at 8.5 on Sunday after Georgia lost.
Yes.
And I mean, people are going to be down on Georgia after that Sunday loss, but the fact that the lines jumped 2.5 in the favor means you're getting a lot of money on Georgia, which honestly indicates well because if you think about it, the Georgia Ole Miss line closed at, I think, at 1 point.
Yeah, it opened at like 4.5, and then it closed in at -1.
So, I mean, for it to close that much, and look what happened in that game, Georgia obviously got their asses handed to them. So, if line movement is an indication of how this game will go, it's very good for Georgia. And it's very similar to what happened in 2022, where Georgia opened as 8.5-point favorites, and the entire national media, the entire world said, oh, my God, that's free money. Tennessee might win this game outright, and the line stayed at 8.5 throughout the entire week. Georgia ended up winning that game and covering. So this, in my opinion, is good news for Georgia.
It does seem like the last time I could remember a UGA line being bumped all the way down to like -1, the 2021 SEC championship game. That line shrunk and shrunk and shrunk until like right before kickoff. It was a pick'em basically, and Georgia
we saw what happened
waxed that day, and then that happened last week. So it does seem like that. They did like the bettors do have a good indicator on which Georgia team they're getting.
I think
Has
it
the total
also.
moved at all?
I don't believe so. I haven't
It's
been
set in the 40s.
I haven't been paying much attention to the total.
Yeah,
I also think
47.
Mm-hmm. 46.5 last I checked.
I also think that do with this what you will. It's
47.5.
probably an indication as to Nico's availability because we also talked about this with the Texas Florida game how that line opened up at really shallow and we all said, hey, this has got to mean DJ Lagway's playing. Of course, DJ Lagway has been announced that he will be playing in this game. So,
Maybe Chris Felica just that much of a line mover.
maybe. I mean, he is a known betting guy. So
Yeah,
he
well
probably,
connected in Vegas.
He probably has some good connections there. So I would trust his sources.
I wouldn't touch it.
Oh, I think it's bad luck to bet on your team, but
Oh yeah, that's right. You guys are fans.
secretly, not really well.
I just put my money in other places.
Yeah, I invest, dude. Got a Roth IRA.
How grown of you.
The totals moved to 47.5. I think I do like the under there, but I still, again, probably wouldn't touch it.
It's too low for me to touch.
It'd be close.
47.5 is.
Life's too short to be rooting for unders.
I mean, who's to say that this isn't a 28-20 football game?
Who's to say?
Just saying.
I want to give a quick shout out to our friends again over at Better. If you're looking for a new place this season to make college football player prop bets, Better is the place to be. Enter promo code Brooks. You get a 100% deposit match up to $200 over there. Again, that's promo code Brooks. Enter more than or less than keynote player props on all of your favorite college football games. Again, we would put the play up on the board right now. Just worried about our stream crashing, which we haven't had any problems today.
No, we haven't.
Knock on the woods there. Who needs a career day Saturday, Kirby?
This is going to sound really cliche to say. It is. And it doesn't necessarily need a career day. He just needs to have his best game of the 2024 season. And by that, I mean just don't really turn the ball over and make good decisions with it. I think if you do that, like all of your ailments, with the exception of last week that you've had offensively this year, can kind of be tied back to Carson Beck's making bad decisions with the football. And now we all have watched film. We've all broken it down. They're not all his fault. But there has been some points of the season where we look at Carson Beck's play and say, that doesn't look like what we saw in 2023. It looks like he's trying to do too much, whether that's the fault of the receivers or whether that's, the offensive line not giving him enough time, whether that is. But Carson Beck, if he turns in one of his best performances of the year, I don't see a way that Georgia loses this game.
Shoot. I said it's got to be one of the tackles.
Yeah.
It's got to be either Xavier Truss or it's got to be Ernest Green or it's got to be Monroe Freeling. It's got to be one of those guys. One of those guys has to be able to, for 4 quarters, put together a masterful performance against Tennessee's edge rushers. And really, you could say the entire offensive line. Like, you need all of them to have their best and career day of this season this weekend, because it is a do-or-die moment, and you're going to need it against a really good Tennessee defensive front.
I think the answer is Trevor Etienne, considering how banged up the running back room is.
Well, he's not playing.
Yeah, that's.
Or excuse me, I meant Nate Frazier. Yeah, even though he'll cost me another loss in the fantasy category, but I don't really care. It is what it is. So yeah, I think it's Trevor. Again, I did. I think it's Nate Frazier, the my guy. All right, got to have a massive football game, considering he's gonna get 18 to 20 carries on Saturday.
So it sounds like we all agree that it's going to hinge on the offense. Someone on the offense having a great day. Like you don't need a Jalen Walker Texas type performance from the defense.
And I don't think there's an individual that is going into this game defensively where it's like they're going to attack you or you have to play well for us to play well as a unit. It's certainly the offensive side of the football that needs some of those individual performances. I don't think. Now, you could say the corners are going to get put on island Saturday, but, I mean, I've seen Tennessee wide receivers running butt-ass naked this year, and they can't hit the guy. So I think it's more about what your offense does Saturday than what your defense does.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. It feels like if you just had like a standard, typical, collective good day from your defense, you'll be fine. Like, you don't need one of the linebackers to have an overwhelmingly great day or one of the defensive linemen necessarily. Now, would that add to the cause and be a huge factor in this game? Absolutely, but
I do think that, and this is just it's cliche, but I mean, having a quarterback who's playing out of his mind can alleviate. Hey, our running back room's really thin right now. Our wide receivers haven't been playing as good. Our tackle game hasn't been that strong. Like, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady kind of carried teams throughout the seasons. And essentially that's what you would want Carson Beck to do in this game.
What's Carson Beck's best game?
Probably Kentucky 2023.
Or that Ole Miss game, maybe?
He didn't he didn't throw the ball as much in that Ole Miss game as you'd think. I think he was like 18 for 26. Georgia ran the ball for 300 yards against Ole Miss last year. That's what everyone I think forgets. Like, they scorched them on the ground last year. I think it's Kentucky 2023. Stats and data will check that.
He had 389 yards on 28 for 35, 4 touchdowns and a pick against Kentucky last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would probably agree. Some people would say, I mean, statistically, it's the Mississippi State game from this year where he threw for 459, but I don't feel like anybody left thinking that was some ungodly performance.
No.
I only ask because it's like, it's become not like a joke, but it's become a reoccurring comment in our Discord about, oh, this is the Carson Beck legacy game. This is the Carson Beck legacy game. This is the Carson Beck legacy game. I'm just, when's it going to happen is my question. And maybe this is the one.
I mean, he really hasn't had one, but he hasn't really needed to have one. I don't feel like. I mean, I don't know. It's such a weird dynamic because
his deal is consistency.
Yeah,
his deal is not ebbs and flows. It's I expect Carson Beck to be 300 yards passing on 70% completion and not turn the ball over. That's what I think of him as a quarterback.
Absolutely.
When he plays his best football, that's what it looks like. And by the way, when he's playing that way and he's efficient and he's completing 70% of his balls for 300 yards and not turning it over, magically the run game finds its way to have some type of effectiveness as well. So I think his best games are when he plays within himself
I agree
and has
with
the
that.
ability to do so. That's the key,
Yeah.
right? Like you got to be able to protect.
I would say you saw that last week. It just happened in a game where you couldn't block anybody, and he was still having to roll outside of the pocket and do things off script. But I think that he was trying to be that style of himself last weekend.
What are you reading?
Buddy's question: what's your take? Do alternate jerseys throw off teams? Would UGA start practicing in black if they end up wearing them? I can only speak about how I would think as a player. It would give me an immediate bit of juice for about
Till kickoff?
no, I mean not even then. I mean till we come running out of the tunnel, and then the adrenaline dump stops, and then now it's time to go play football.
But the thing is, then you have to that juice immediately gets transferred into the crowd, because
that's the whole reason.
and then you
do
have to
it,
try to
in my
ride the
opinion.
crowd's high through it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like the reality is, like you said, as soon as you run out of the tunnel, no one's thinking about black jerseys except the people in the stadium. The people in the stadium are going to be what give you the juice. It's like a weird cycle. So I don't know.
If you just don't get your ass beat by Alabama back in 2008,
Nobody
I think there's-
cares.
Yeah,
No
I don't
one-
think
yeah.
I don't think this is ever a problem. I think you're an alternate jersey team. And it didn't help that you laid an egg at Arkansas in 2020 when you wore those goofy white and red jerseys.
I kind of love those.
I kind of thought they were hard too, but the red pants were a little bit distracting for me. Even though that picture of George Pickens diving into the end zone is cold.
so
Yeah.
cold,
So cold.
so much aura.
So much aura. Dude dripped aura.
But like I said, they'll do it this year.
You think so?
They're gonna have to at some point. If they don't do it this game, they'll do it for Tech.
I know one thing we confirmed yesterday is that the equipment team definitely listens to the show.
dude, they love trolling so much.
They love trolling so much. And we called them out for not having trolled us this week, and they trolled us tonight.
Yes, they did.
And you think you're trolling us, but I think I got clicks out of it. So thank you. I tell
No,
you,
they're
every time
feeding-
I see you guys, it's the most read article we have all year. Oh, they might be wearing black jerseys. Click, 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 click. Thank you very much.
People love some jersey talk.
Yeah, they do. Sunday's headlines today.
Let's do it.
Tennessee takes tumble. Too much toughness from Dogs D.
Do you have like an alliteration website that you type up?
No, these are all off the top of the head. Beck bounces back. Bulldogs back on Believers Boulevard.
I bet ChatGPT could give me a really good alliteration headline.
I've
or
got two
something.
different.
I mean, y'all didn't even
alliterations.
respect that one. Beck bounces back. Bulldogs back on Believers Boulevard.
I like it.
That's a bar.
I like it. Dogs defense dominates. Samson sputters on Saturday.
Ooh. See, I didn't do the alliterations things.
Hey, you know,
What you doing over
not
there?
in it.
I'm going to ChatGPT to see if it can create. me
See, this
one.
is an alliteration, but without using the same actual letter at the start, just the same sounds. Kirby continues control over hypo and Vols.
Alliterations are the sounds. It's not the letters.
Well, you know.
Rocky
Thank you
Top
for that.
hits rock bottom.
Boom.
Dogs remain in the hunt.
Bulldogs batter the Big Orange. Georgia grounds gutsy Tennessee with grit and glory.
That's a very long headline.
Dude, it's
B minus from ChatGPT.
It's trying its best, okay, man. This is only the 4.0, so
It didn't give you any more, just the one.
I can ask for another.
Any more Sunday's
Stand
headlines
by.
today?
Georgia grinds down gritty Tennessee, bulldozing Big Orange bravado. This sucks. No, my headline is Dogs rally behind legendary crowd to beat Volunteers.
Legendary crowd.
I think that this will be probably now depending on how the game goes early on, but this will be the greatest Sanford Stadium crowd that Georgia's seen.
Wow.
It's a night game. It's a 7:30 kick. It's a blackout. It's against a top 10 team. It's a win or go home situation. It's a heated rival that Georgia fans really don't like Tennessee. Like, it's got all the makings of it being one of the most hostile crowds. By the way, you haven't been to Athens in, 35, 36 days now. So the reality is I think this will be probably one of the quintessential greatest crowds of all time when it comes to Sanford Stadium.
Do you really think that many people are going to be wearing black?
I think it's going to be more black than usual. I think the fact that you had the players on board with it and saying, hey, wear black, and a lot of the the entire student section is going to be blacked out. It's not going to be like 2008 or 2007 when they rolled into Auburn. It was like everyone was wearing black.
Yeah.
But,
I just got a text message.
oh,
Hey,
really?
we're wearing black on Saturday. Please don't read this on air. Oh,
This one wasn't my fault.
Who sent you that one?
That was not on me, all right?
You see, we know it's fake because of how not freaking out you are right now. I don't think you can act mad.
I don't think I can act at all.
Well, I wasn't gonna break you down like that, but I can't see anger on your face. So
Like that time that we got hot mic'd.
yeah, that's what I was saying. That was genuine. He's probably pretty mad right now, and I can see it.
No.
No.
I don't think he was that mad.
It's okay.
That ended up on Twitter faster than anything we've ever done.
Yep. Yes, it did.
That was really quick.
But hey, we weren't wrong.
We were not wrong. He actually did hit right after
You're
the Florida State game.
welcome.
Told you so. People thought I was
Jeez.
doing a bit.
I know.
People
should have
thought I
been.
was doing that to draw up clicks for our website.
You should have done that, honestly.
Yeah.
You should have came out and said, "Guys, got your dumb asses. It was a joke. We're trolling."
Just trying to see which one of you guys were watching. We're trolling.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What do we want to do next?
There's a lot on the line Saturday.
So says you.
Like, obviously, there's if you don't, so says me, Jesus. Obviously, if you don't win this game, your season's effectively over. You're not going to the playoff. That's a big deal. But there's a lot more nuanced things that I think that we haven't really paid attention to. Obviously, Georgia hasn't lost to Tennessee in 7 years, but Kirby Smart has not lost back-to-back games since 2018. He hasn't lost back-to-back regular season games since 2016. Georgia has not lost a home game since 2019. They have not had more than 2 losses in a regular season since 2016. Kirby Smart has never lost a night game in Sanford Stadium. Georgia has not been outside of the top 15 in rankings since 2016. And Kirby Smart has never lost multiple games in the month of November. So, I mean, there is a bunch on the line in this game. Like, all those streaks can come to an end with this loss on Saturday, on top of the fact that it's effectively a winner. You're in the playoff from here on out. So, I think that there's a lot more riding on this game than we kind of anticipated.
Yeah. There's a lot on this football game.
I just wanted to make sure that was put on camera.
Jesus, man.
So even in 2016, didn't lose multiple games in the month of November?
No, that they had that stretch where they lost back-to-back games against Ole Miss and Tennessee.
Yep.
Then they had back-to-back stretch where they lost to Florida and Vanderbilt. Then they won 3 games straight, including a win against Auburn before they lost to Tech in Athens. So, I mean, the 2016 you had 5 losses, but you only had 1 in the month of November, which is kind of surprising.
Interesting.
So, I mean, Kirby Smart has kind of dominated the month of November, which makes me more inclined to believe that Georgia's going to handle this game. But
I got absolutely cooked by a commenter today on our YouTube channel. And I want to bring it up because I think it was based. And I think it's a flaw in my analysis at times. The comment basically read, Brooks after Kentucky. Seems like Kentucky knew what was going to happen or knew what was going to do it. They had some tendencies. Brooks versus so-and-so. I could tell when they were running truck toss. Brooks versus so-and-so. It seems like there's some tendencies on the screen games. And then it said, also Brooks, Mike Bobo is not the problem. Do you think there's a concern about them being a little bit too repetitive or maybe too predictable or maybe they have too many tendencies?
I mean, yes, but here's the thing. All those things that you just answered, as far as truck toss, as far as screen games, as far as all those, it's predictable because it's really all they can do.
Yeah.
Like, they've taken far less deep shots in the last 3 games because they don't think they can convert on them. You know, for the most part, a screen is a very easy pitch and catch, and then it's let your playmaker go make plays. Now, whether or not you can block on the perimeter has been to be determined throughout this far. So, I mean, I think Mike Bobo has gotten predictable a little bit, but that's because of the limitations that your offense has provided you. Your wide receiver core is banged up. You're the most injured running back core you've had in a long time, even more than the start of last year. Your quarterback hasn't necessarily been playing great. Your offensive line just got manhandled last week. It's not like you can say you have all these plays at your disposal and we have all these long, drawn-out plays where we can throw the ball down the field and extend plays. Like, you have to get the quick hitters and what you know are working. So, I mean, yeah, they're playing the hits a little too much, but I think that's the only thing that they can really stick to.
That right there is an alley-oop. That's how you do that right there. Attaboy.
Thanks.
Attaboy. Big Bags Brooks bleakly blends black blouse becoming basement background.
Good lord.
Hooked on, dude.
My
Yes.
gosh.
You do look like you're about to like
Yeah,
jump.
I got a floating head syndrome going on right now. That's why I rolled the sleeves up. I had the green jacket on, but it got too hot.
Yeah.
So I
This
ditched
you
it.
finally
one's
turn the
getting
heat
hot
on?
Too, but
Huh?
Did you finally turn the
No,
heat
I
on?
actually turned the heat back off before the show.
Mm.
I'm just red-blooded American male running hot. You know?
Ah.
It'd be like that sometimes. Here's the super chub from Hunter Lacey. For the love of God, do not give the Bobo haters any more reason to hate Bobo. We didn't. I threw an alley-oop to my boy, and he dunked on him. So good job.
thanks,
in
man.
there yamming.
Is that what you said in the comments, or was it you just kind of left it?
Is that a Young Dolph ad lib from you?
Yeah,
I love that. Man's out here playing banged up, and he's still quick-witted.
that's right.
That is awesome from you.
RP Young Dolph.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Paper Ralph Frank.
What did you just ask?
I was saying, is that what you replied to him in the comments? You just said, I'm gonna leave it be.
What comments?
Did you reply to the YouTube
Oh,
commenter?
no. I just said based.
Ah,
I just said based.
I mean,
It's like, I see what you're doing.
I had a commenter on my Trevor Etienne injury post, and it says, "Welp, Bobo is happy AF. He can call 60 passing plays, and Beck can throw 5 interceptions and be sacked 10 times." I think that's a funny tweet because, one, everybody's biggest gripe with Bobo for the longest time was he runs way too much. He doesn't throw the ball enough. Now it's turned into, now all he wants to do is throw the ball, as if your running back room isn't completely depleted right now. And being sacked 10 times. I think that kind of plays also into your comment of Bobo, like, if you want to say struggles.
I always knew he couldn't win. I always knew he was always going to be somebody that people shit on social media. But it was really confirmed to me when they got mad at him for being too aggressive in that Texas game. When people were like, why aren't we just running the ball and running the clock out? After years of bitching about this dude running too many halfback draws on third in a zip code. It's like, y'all.
Or taking the foot off the gas.
Yeah, it's like, I don't understand where he's supposed to win.
That's just, again, we've outlined this before. It's the plight of the Georgia fan. Like, it took Stetson Bennett 2 national championships, an undefeated season, and multiple accolades and a Heisman finalist for people to finally come around on him. And there are still some people to this day that maintain the fact that he was propped up by a defense and propped up by a team around him. And had JT Daniels done it, the Georgia Bulldogs would have done the same thing. So, I mean, there are these certain figures, and they come along every so often where they can do no right, and whatever they do will be wrong. So, and it's unfortunate that the offense has looked the way it has because this year, because it is going to all fall in Mike Bobo's lap. And whether that is all of his fault or not, I think that there's a good amount of it that's unfair to Bobo, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
I got another super chub. And by the way, we will answer all of these the rest of the night. Garrett Jones says, does Dylan Bell assist the running back room with Etienne out? I think he probably is getting some packages put in for him already.
He's going to have to. I mean, we talked about this last year. Like, it was we talked about this going into the season of, hey, do you think Dylan Bell kind of gets thrown in at running back just to spice things up a little bit? And the answer was, no. This running back room's too deep. Dylan Bell last year was a break in case of emergency type thing, and that's why you saw him throughout those seasons when Kendall Milton was down, Dejan Edwards was down, you were starting a freshman, Roger Robinson. I mean, now you have essentially 2 scholarship backs in the room, and maybe Cass Jones might not even be playing this Saturday, so it's really down to Nate Frazier and Chauncey Bowens. I think Dylan Bell is definitely going to be getting some reps at the running back position.
Yeah, I would think so. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see Dylan Bell toting the rock this weekend, just because you can't afford to lose anybody else in that running back room, especially not if Cass Jones doesn't play on Saturday. You cannot afford to lose anybody else. Not that you can afford to lose a wide receiver, though, either at this point. So it's unfortunate that you're going to have to put one of your starting wide receivers potentially at the running back spot a couple times on Saturday, but you got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Another super chub. This one comes from top_beast mode. Great name. Who is our offensive analyst? We had Buster Faulkner last year. Could it be? I don't know what the could it be has on that back end, but the 2 that immediately come to mind are Gummy Van Gorder, which I don't know if he's an on-field coach or still listed as an analyst, but has a major role. He's the one who handles most of the quarterbacks. And then the other one's Brandon Streeter. Brandon Streeter, former offensive coordinator at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
He got hired, I want to say, like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's been there for 2 seasons now. But those are your kind of, they seem to be the important ones, like Buster was, the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, we'll save that for later, but just hypothetical coaching searches.
I don't think that's happening.
That's why I was like, not even get that out there.
I know everybody's like clamoring to get rid of people, but I don't think they are. Not based off the conversations that I've had as of late. So I know y'all want pelts on the wall. I don't think you're getting it, unfortunately for you guys. I don't think he needs. It's not a scheme issue right now.
It's not. I mean, the only thing I will say is that you're going on year 5 of the quote unquote Todd Monken style system.
Yeah.
You are bound to have tendencies at some point.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that this is Mike Bobo running the quote unquote Todd Monken system. Now, he's obviously added his own wrinkles to it. He's obviously understands this offense very well. But I do think that the only silver lining of even entertaining a different offensive coordinator would be that you kind of have a new system in place. It's not as much, hey, you're not going off of this system that's been built for 5 years. Because the reality is they've been running the same plays for 5 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the film is going to be the film. The tendencies are going to be there.
Well, offensively, you're going to have to change next year anyways. You're
That's what I was going to say.
Correct.
If there ever were a time,
Especially if
though,
it's Gunner.
where it would make sense to maybe do a change, maybe it would be next year because something's going to change regardless. You're going to have a big change next year offensively.
And I think maybe that's where the criticism could come in, is that you hang on to offensive philosophies maybe just a smidge longer than they need to be there. Like, Georgia really, really ran the ball successfully from 2017 to 2018 and 2016 even that. It was, hey, we've got a two-head monster in the running back position. And by 2019, like, it was pretty well figured out that it was, hey, if you can load the box and force a quarterback to beat you, you have a really good chance of winning that game. And that's what happened. That's why the 2019 season was such an offensive nightmare. I think you're kind of getting similar issues with that right now, where it's like, hey, they've been doing the same things for 4 years. And oh, by the way, they don't have as many talented players doing it. So you can probably get them offensively. So maybe a philosophy change is good. And I'm not saying you need an offensive coordinator change to do that, but philosophy change might bring you well.
I don't know. I think all of your problems and holes on your roster right now get filled pretty quickly. I think you're deficient in the talent department right now at 2 spots offensively, offensive line and wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Your 2024 class was incredible. Your 2025 class has got what I think is an NFL first rounder and Juan Gaston in it. And your wide receiver class this year looks to be C.J. Wiley and Taylor Taylor, 2 borderline 5-stars, plus Landon Rowland, plus
Tyler Williams,
plus
Thomas
Blackshear. So like you've got bodies coming into that room that are higher caliber than they have been in the last 5 or 6 years. So I'm not out here like rushing to make coaching changes. I even see people in the comment talking about Dante Williams needs to go because of what's happened to Malachi Starks. Dante Williams doesn't coach Malachi Starks. Dante Williams coaches the corners. T-Rob coaches the safeties and the nickels.
Malachi Starks is being asked to do something this year that very few players on this planet can do. Of, we're going to rotate you so much between, like, you might play defensive back, you might play star, you might play safety. This dude is doing it all defensively for you, and you're putting him in spots to where he can make impact plays and impact the football.
I think it's pretty obvious why Malachi's been exposed more this year, because he's being exposed more. He's being asked to do more. Yep. He's being asked to play star. He's being asked to play safety. He's been asked to do all these. He's been asked to call the defense, right? Or at least call half of the coverage on half of the field that he's responsible for. All of these things he's more than capable of doing. None of these things he was being asked to do last year.
Nope.
So he's getting put into more positions where he's more exposed. So he's going to have some of these moments that pop up more often on tape.
And not just to mention that, goes back to football 101. If you're in the nickel position on defense, you're going to be in man much more than you're in the freeze position at the safety spot. So naturally, being in man more means you're going to get exposed more. It's basic math. So, I mean, all these clips you see on Twitter of what's happening to Malachi Starks, he's getting beat by ins and slants and all this. Well, he's in a lot of man coverage right now. That's going to happen. The best corners in the league get beat on man coverage sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a clip from this past week where he's matched up with a running back out of the backfield, and the running back's got 40 yards on either side of him to go both ways, and he picks the wrong side, and it looks like he gets really, really beat, but I don't know how many safeties are rolling down, picking up the back out of the backfield and not getting beat on angle routes.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting. 3 reasons that Georgia wins on Saturday. What are they?
First one is the crowd wreaks havoc all night along with the defense. Like, the home field advantage that you have in this game could honestly be massive. I mean, you had 8 false starts last year or last time they played in Athens. Like, you could really, really cause problems, especially for Nico, who is essentially, for all intents and purposes, a freshman right now. Like, this will probably be the most hostile environment he comes into, so it could create a lot of problems for the. Do you want me to just go all through all three?
Yeah.
Second one is Georgia plays clean on offense. They don't have to play perfect. They don't have to play flash. They don't have to be explosive. They don't have to be, world beaters and put up 40 points. But if they play clean, where it's less mental mistakes, less turnovers, I think you win this game. Like, you very, very easily could score 30 points and win this game. I think if you score 30 points and you don't win this game, it's on the defense, which I don't think we all feel like Tennessee's going to hang 30 on you defensively. We could be wrong, but it feels pretty safe to say if you score 30, you win this game, especially in history where Tennessee has scored 20 points in you once in the last 7 games. And then the third one is Georgia consistently forces long fields for the Tennessee offense. I don't really see a world where Tennessee is able to consistently drive the ball down the field. And even to a point, last week Ole Miss wasn't able to do it. They had a couple of sustained drives that ultimately were the backbreakers for you, but you provide them with a lot of short fields with turnovers and penalties and fumbles. So I think that if you are consistently relying, and if Brett Thorson is consistently pinning them inside their own 15, Tennessee's going to have a hard time really getting the offensive momentum going, especially with the fact that they are going to be at home this time.
Go ahead, J-Will.
Number one I've got is Georgia's offense does the basics. They do the simple things of we're catching the football, we're being efficient up front offensively, Carson Beck is not turning the football over, and the running backs are not fumbling the football. I think that if you just do those simple things and you don't make dumb mistakes, and I think you're going to be in good shape offensively, just do the basic and simple things. And that might kind of sound a little concerning of, dang, we're not even doing the basics, like that's really all we have to do, but I just think that that's really important in this game because I think that your defense is going to have success. So if your offense can just do the basics, you'll be all right. Number 2 I have is Tennessee can't run the ball effectively. I think that it starts with stopping the run against Tennessee. It starts with forcing Nico or whoever the quarterback is going to be on Saturday of them winning this football game with their arm. So if you can somehow find a way to take Dylan Sampson, not completely out of it, but if you can have him put in like a modest stat line compared to what he has against other SEC teams this year, you're going to be in really good shape to win this game. And I also have the Sanford crowd absolutely dominates. I think the crowd will play a role in this on Saturday. And I just think that whenever this team has needed the crowd to show up in a big way in dire need moments in big football games, they've shown up in big ways and they've impacted the football game a lot.
Reason number 1 that Georgia wins this Saturday, bless you, by the way, they block. How about that?
Oh,
they block.
What a good idea.
Yeah, just block
I didn't
'em.
think about that one, actually.
Just block them. Just get them blocked up. Reason number 2 that Georgia wins on Saturday. You guys all mentioned stopping the run. I think stopping the run is important, but stopping the explosive runs is the most important thing on Saturday. I think Tennessee's going to run their head up against a brick wall. They're very stubborn with regards to the run. Even though they're not running it efficiently, they're waiting on the one breaker that inevitably happens for them. That is historically this season, that's what's happened. It's not like, Dylan Sampson's having a great year, but his statistical averages are what they are because he has a 50-yard explosive almost every single football game. If Georgia gets out of here with a 22 attempt, 88-yard football game from Dylan Sampson, I think you win this one. Number 3, Carson returns to Carson. I don't need 400 yards from Carson Beck. I don't need 45 passing attempts. I don't need, my God, this is the best player on the football field today. This is the smartest player on the football field today. This is the best decision maker on the football field today. That's what I need. I need Carson Beck of old. I need the guy that obviously grew up watching way too much Aaron Rodgers when he wasn't putting the ball at risk. That's what I need.
Love it. What you got for Tennessee, Kirby?
So, I mean,
transition.
The first one is obviously it's what's hindered your offense all season, it feels like. If Georgia turns the ball over, not even with consistency, but if at inopportune times, more than twice, I would say, you're probably not going to win this game. Like, you can't have momentum consistently zapped from you because that's what an offensive turnover is. It takes all your momentum away, and you have to rebuild it coming back. And Georgia's offense just doesn't have the horses this season to consistently come back from 2 turnover, 3 turnover games, even if the game is at home. So that's probably the worst one. Second one, why Tennessee would win, is the defense doesn't limit explosive plays, particularly through the air, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that Dylan Sampson, we all know they're going to Dylan Sampson the shit out of you this game. He obviously can't have 150 rushing yards, but we've talked about how Tennessee hasn't been able to hit their deep shots this year on offense. If they start doing that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. I mean, the baseline expectation is that Tennessee can't really hit their deep shots. So Tennessee cannot hit their deep shots on Saturday, because if they do that, you're going to have to put stress. You're going to have to accompany less people in the box to stop the run. And all of a sudden, that's opening up the run game. Tennessee's offensive philosophy has always been run to pass, or pass to run. So I think that's probably the issue that you're going to have here. If you don't limit explosives through the air as much as it is on the ground. Then the third one is Tennessee's defense wreaks more havoc than Georgia's.
Yeah.
Very simple here. If Carson Beck is consistently throwing under duress, if they can't get anything going in the rushing game, if you can't really build any crowd momentum because your offense can't get anything going, and Tennessee's defense outshines Georgia's defense, you're not going to win this game. Like, we all know that you are going to need the offense to kind of step up in a way, but it's going to be the defense that leads you. If the other team's defense outperforms yours, you're in trouble.
I got key number one, or reason number one, that Tennessee walks away with this. If they go 40% on balls thrown beyond 40 yards from the line of scrimmage, they win this football game.
Yep.
If they complete 3 of 7, they win this football game. That's all it's going to take, honestly. I don't think this game gets into a 35-34 type of football game. I think this is a 21-17, winner gets out of here with defense and a couple of big plays. So if Tennessee's able to do that, I think they ultimately win this one. You talked about havoc. It's a James Pierce legacy football game. And he certainly has a tremendous matchup this weekend against both these tackles. It's not just Ernest Green. Ernest Green got the ugly look on social media this past weekend from a lot of Georgia fans, but all three of these tackles, maybe not Monroe Freeland because he's so long and athletic, but all three of these tackles, if they've shown any type of weakness, it's the wide speed rush, and that's what James Pierce does better than anybody else in college football right now. Maybe outside of Princely Uman Milan. Uman Milan was given some hellified speed rushes on Saturday night. So this being at home certainly helps some of that stuff. But, man, this James Pierce matchup is an ideal one for him. And then my last key victory point for Tennessee, if Boo Carter comes out here and has the type of football game that he's had this year, you're in some deep trouble there too.
So it seems like Tennessee winning hinges more on their defense playing havoc enough, while Georgia's hinges more on the fact of, can your offense score points?
Yeah, in my opinion.
Which unit?
And the explosives offensively for Tennessee.
Which unit do you trust more between Georgia's offense and Tennessee's defense?
You really want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
Tennessee's defense. Tennessee's defense is a top 15 unit in the sport right now.
Yeah.
I think. You watched it. They're terrifying.
They're good. They're a very good unit.
They're really good.
Mm-hmm. Number one I have is Dylan Sampson just absolutely goes off. Like if he finishes this game with like 155 yards and 2 touchdowns, that's just a recipe for disaster. You can't have it happen. You cannot let him be the reason that they beat you this weekend. So if they're able to do what they just want on offense in this running back room, then it's going to be a long day for Georgia. You got a puzzling look over there on your face.
Because my man Michael, the lone Tennessee fan that's hanging out in the local hour right now, claims that I just said you're not good at running the football. That's not what I said. I said you are stubborn running the football. You continue to run the football, and you are dependent upon the explosive that inevitably happens for you. That every single football game this year that Dylan Sampson has busted a 50, 60-yard explosive, and that's why you're so good at running the football.
Love that.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. That needed to be said. Number 2, Tennessee's defensive line just has their way with your offensive line. You saw last week, if you just can't get anything going on offense because you can't block anybody, and Carson Beck is not able to find just sit in the pocket and operate like he normally does, and you can't establish a run game because your offensive line is getting whipped again, you're just not going to find any offensive success, especially not against a unit like Tennessee. So you just mentioned is a top 15 defense in the country. So you got to limit them. You got to make sure that they don't create too much havoc for you. The number 3, Nico or Gaston Moore, whoever's playing quarterback on Saturday, if they find just a rhythm, you guys kind of highlighted the offensive explosives. Like if they find some explosives in the passing game, obviously that would impact this. But I think if they're just able to find a rhythm and be comfortable with it, and they feel comfortable both running the football and they feel comfortable throwing the football, then I think that's what's going to put Georgia's defense in some trouble, and it's what's going to put Georgia overall in some trouble. So you can't let them all of a sudden find things clicking, and then they're confident doing both things on offense. Then you're in some trouble, in my opinion.
I've got a question, though. What is the best-case scenario loss for Georgia? Where obviously
Doesn't exist.
Obviously, you lose. This is a catastrophe of a season. This is going to look very bad. This is a major, the most disappointing season you would have had under Kirby Smart since probably 2016.
I'd say 2020.
2020, that's correct. But what would have to happen in this game for fans not to come out with pitchforks and all sorts of things to say
The ref stole it from you.
right? But like,
That's it. You asked. That's it. The only way Georgia fans come out of this without looking for a scalp is if the scalp's on the referee's head.
so it would have to be a Texas situation where a call gets overturned or something questionable happens and completely zaps the momentum. And
There's going to be smoke. I mean, it's going to be irresponsible and irrational smoke on Kirby. But if he loses this football game, people are gonna be upset. There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
I think another avenue would be you have turnovers from guys that don't particularly give you turnovers. If you have a muffed punt, if you have a fumble from one of the receivers, if you have something like that where it's like, damn, we lost this game just because we shot ourselves in the foot offensively, where you can't point to the scheme or, hey, Carson Beck played bad or we couldn't run the football or our defense got torched. Like if that happens, I think that you just draw up to this was a disastrous game. But I think that's probably the best case scenario if you lose, and it's not a good scenario either way.
No. Do we have nostalgic tape?
No, but we can pull one up for you.
All right, let's start pulling one up. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like and subscribe, and rate and reviewing, all that good stuff. I'm thinking suit tomorrow, Kirby.
You think so?
On Feinbaum. I'm
You're
thinking
be suited up with Fall Feinbaum?
Yeah, I'm gonna be suited and booted tomorrow. Do you think I get heckled? Do you think there's anybody in the background?
I honestly did think about coming and heckling you. But,
What would your sign say?
Oh, it wouldn't be a sign.
This guy doesn't know ball.
I would just yell at you.
Yeah.
I would yell at you from the crowd.
This guy picked Bama to win.
Something like that.
This guy used to not even have credentials.
No, I mean, I would have to.
You liked that one, didn't you?
I have 24 hours to think of some good heckling, but I'm not going to do it. Like, I don't want to. Dude, it's a big moment.
Dude won 7 games in college and claims to have been a college football player. Is that too long for a chirp?
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah, you probably get shut down.
He played D2 ball, Paul.
I also feel like those sets don't really have any tolerance for that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it gets shut down pretty quick, and their mics are far away. Like, you're a lot further away from the stage than you would think. Like, their
Yeah, you're
mics
back
aren't picking
there.
it. Like, you can't really heckle.
Yeah.
The people that are going to hear you are the ones that are on the stage, but the mics aren't ever going to pick it up.
Do we have one?
Yes, we do. I'm actually. Did you see me pull it up, Christian?
No, I didn't.
All right, let's maybe see if Christian can get it this time.
Oh.
I won't be
Because I think that Brooks is going to get it rather quickly, but I'm interested to kind of flip it over to you, Christian.
Oh, yeah, I know who that is already.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
Why do you do this walk away thing every time when you say
Oh, no, no,
Because
no.
it's cool,
like
dude.
you're gonna walk away and sit back down and just like we're not gonna actually
Just shut up and guess who the player is, dude.
Oh, this might be really confusing for you, Christian.
I'm gonna assume that he's playing a different position than
It'd be a good assumption. The key when you're doing this, Kirby, is to try to figure out what high school you're looking at.
I mean that's out of the window for me. Is this a Georgia high school?
This is a Georgia high school.
Okay.
I had it as soon as you pulled it up.
I figured.
What era would this be?
This would be this guy was one of the very first big time commits.
It's not Isaiah Wilson because he was.
Bro,
Such an athlete.
such an
Oh
athlete.
my gosh.
Insanity. Woo! Come on, dude.
Man.
For real?
The hints are throwing me off. It's not Andrew Thomas, is it?
It is.
It is
Okay.
Andrew Thomas.
It is Andrew Thomas.
This is Pace Academy.
Yeah. Well, this is the Under Armour.
Yeah, that's
Very,
All-American
very
game,
rarely
but-
do you see contact camp film on your highlight tape.
Well, when you're an All-American and you're out here doing kids up
Yeah,
like that,
no,
you got to
I mean-
kind of put it on the tape. That's Pace Academy, by the way, that he's playing at. And this guy, let's see if you can identify who his teammate is here, Kirby. The number probably going to give it away. Who's this fella right here?
I know who it is, I think.
Number 69.
Come on, dude.
Jamari Sawyer.
It's Jamari Sawyer. Jamari Sawyer and Andrew Thomas played on the same high school offensive line right next to each other.
Now both are
Guys, I think at the time, Pace Academy was a 2A school.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
They have to have won every state.
I mean, that's them playing, I want to say that's North Cobb Christian.
Man.
Timmy and Tyler might have questioned whether or not they wanted to play football after that
run
one.
behind those two jokers.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Yeah, I'm not super well versed in the high school jerseys, so.
Love the D tackle tape.
Man.
Yeah, he had some good
Such a
tackle.
damn athlete, dude. I haven't seen a human with this light of feet as I watched him. I used to love watching Andrew Thomas in pregame warmups. It was the most fun that I've had in pregame doing this job because getting to see that dude's feet, man.
He was Kirby's first rounder, was he not?
I think so.
That he signed, probably.
Like the first player he had drafted in the first round, because they didn't have anyone drafted in 2016. The first
Bro was a demon. The scariest thing about Andrew Thomas, in my opinion, is that he murders people on the football field, but he's so soft-spoken and nice. Such a nice human. And he out here doing folks up on a high school football field.
Yeah, I thought this would be fun.
Nah, that's good tape,
I
man.
actually enjoyed having to guess as well.
Look at Jamari. Come on, finish the rep, 69. I'm just
It's
kidding.
not Jamari's tape. It's
You right. That's a good little high point ball right there. Good tape right there, Jonathan. Good pull right there, kid.
Thank you.
Good pull right there, kid. Good, what was that, 6th rep from you, Curb? Not bad.
yeah, 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
Not bad.
It was also he had the contact camp ones in there, so I mean, it's tough to.
Not bad.
We should watch your tape someday.
It's not that good.
I mean,
I have
One day we're just gonna pull up the SE not top 10 play.
Oh,
Here's nostalgia tape.
We'll do
Break it
that.
down for us,
we'll
Brooks.
do that on April Fools. We'll do that on April.
Just do it on my birthday next week because that's when it happened.
Happened on. Ooh, that's a tough birthday.
It happened on my 21st birthday. Your boy got blackout that night.
It's a tough one.
Wow. World's drunkest human. No doubt. Broke land speed records for that one.
Oh,
Yeah, Buckhead in Atlanta. You know? Good little time. Don't remember much of it.
I'm trying to think like.
Drunkest you've ever been?
No, I'm trying to think like if there's ever a point of. That hasn't happened that often, surprisingly. I'm trying to think
It's
of
not
like.
surprising knowing you.
I'm trying to think if there is a point as to when you can't like who would the drunkest human have to be? Like what's the threshold for
Me
that?
that night. Yeah. Or Bruce Clark in Robert's dorm hall 2013 when we did the Four Loco challenge. I don't know if you can get
back
drunker than
back
that.
when the Four Locos were the
Yeah,
real
OG
deal.
Four Locos.
Before they nerfed
no,
them.
sir.
12% malt liquor.
Before they
You
nerfed
have to
the
drink
Four
4 of
Before they
them in
nerfed
under
them.
4 hours and not throw up. That's the key part. And he lost on the not throwing up part.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Just to challenge
Why is
oneself.
that a challenge?
See what kind of depths of humanity you can truly
That's-
go to and survive.
That's just hey, how bad do you want to hate yourself the next 72
Yeah.
hours?
I think he was okay because he woke up the next morning and slammed the one that he didn't finish before he threw up.
Oh.
So, yeah, best way to stay up is not go down.
Yikes.
That kind of deal. Bruce Clark was a fun buddy to drink with in college, except for at the time when he was blackout. Now you have a 6'5", 245-pound human
Yeah, it's probably like
roaming
a bull.
around, and not an easy horse to get back into the stable.
Yeah,
If you know what I mean.
that's oof. Yeah, no thanks, man. I'm good.
Good times. What else are you gonna do in Rome, Georgia, playing D2 football?
Not a whole
No,
lot.
I mean, yeah, you definitely have a point. And hearing stories like that kind of makes me glad I didn't play in college. But no offense.
None taken at all. I mean, it made me who I am. So I'm
Yes,
good.
hey, look,
Yeah.
just thinking of like, man, the only thing we have to do is try to kill these Four Locos. These
Get
four
shithoused in
kill
this
these four
dorm room
Locos we have in this dorm.
that we had to hey mister for.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you
classic.
did,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah. Freshman
it.
dorm room.
I think hey mistering's kind of gone. Like we never really had to do that.
Yeah, I think fake IDs. I think you and I talked about this. I think fake IDs are way too accessible nowadays.
Fake IDs are too accessible, and there's always
Make hey misters great again.
It's also like people are too accessible as well. Like there's always a cooler older sibling or like the one parent that doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. I just think there's a certain skill set that is required or at least attained when you successfully pull off a hey mister.
Yeah.
You got to be likable. You got to have the balls to do so. You got to convince somebody on the other end to break a law. Like we're really, really pulling off a business acquisition.
Yeah,
at
it
that
really
point.
is.
Like you're really working. You know what I mean?
Did you ever have to? I never hey mister. Did you have to like provide incentives for it? Like
Yeah, I mean cash.
Yeah.
You know, I give you a couple bucks tip if you go in there and get me some booze. Yeah, always pulled them out of the Kroger on Douglasville and I-20.
Kroger, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like the liquor store would be a better place to get.
Nah, they used to the mingling on the outside of that liquor store. They don't want anybody soliciting the hey misters.
Some liquor stores I've been to that they don't give a shit, especially in the Athens area. It's just like, oh, you have money, we'll give you alcohol.
I can't believe I turned 30 next week. That's insane.
Congratulations, man. You made it.
I feel old.
Yeah, I feel old too. So,
all right. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe on your way out. We will see you Sunday at 9:00 here on the network.
Tomorrow on ESPN.
I'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 ESPN, SEC Network, not ESPN.
Well, it's an affiliate.
We'll be sitting down with the boy Paul Feinbaum. Maybe I'll interview him. Maybe I'll turn